Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds in my personal favorite series that we do, ranking every commander.
This time we're taking the commanders from Commander Legends and we're ranking all of the partners.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. This is one of my favorite series ever. If you haven't checked it out, we have ranked systematically every single commander that has ever existed. And we're just now adding the ones from Commander Legends in 2 parts. Next part is going to be next week. This is the 41 partners. If you like that and you want to come talk to us, we have a Discord. If you want to become a patron and support us financially and talk to us on the Discord and stuff, get extra perks, you know where to do that.
Yep.
Description.
Exactly. Description has everything you need to support the channel and help us out. So we're ranking all the partnered commanders. These are all the ones that say the word partner, which means they can be paired with another commander that says, well, partner.
Yeah, we're using power, fun, artwork, coolness, and uniqueness as the total 50-point scale. The only thing we're going to mention now and then never again is when a commander has partner, instead of trying to factor how that interacts with the potential color choices you can do, we just give them +1. Every partner gets +1 for power, since you can combine it with so many other things.
Exactly. And before we begin, I just want to mention right now, these early and these boring commanders that don't have much to talk about, that we're not excited about, we're going to go quick through them, because the fact of the matter is we don't want to be here all day. You don't want to listen to us talk about these ones all day because they're boring. Yeah. When we get to the top, we'll go over them. We'll explain why they're there. But
we've already done videos where we go through every one of these in the limited environment. So we've talked about all of these at some point. All right. So the first one, rank 782, going from lowest to highest, is Numa, Jaraga Chieftain, below Cezanne and above Tuk Tuk. 2 and a green for an Elf Warrior, 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay XX. When you do, distribute X counters among any number of target elves. And she is, of course, an elf. But this is so slow. This seems like it was designed for limited. I have no interest in doing anything with this power-wise.
Yes, the only thing here is just the quickest thing. It has good art. It's all the card really has going for it, and it's the only reason it's not ranking down in some of the worst commanders ever. The art is really good, looks phenomenal. We want to say this now, they nailed art in the set. There's some we don't like that much, but pretty much everyone is at least average or above average at worst.
Yeah, how many of these do we not like? 2 artworks? But we can move on from Numa because she doesn't do anything, and almost none of these early ones have any lore.
Galanora, Caller of Wirewood. Right above Akim, the Soaring Winds, and right below Miri, the Cursed. She comes in at 761. 2 and a green for a 1/2 elf. She can tap for 1 mana, and if that mana is used to cast a spell that costs 6 or more, you draw a card. Again, just not much here. You're going to be casting huge, giant spells. The idea of this deck is it's going to struggle because you have to cast 6 drops already, and then you draw a card. It's like, well, how do you double spell when all you're casting is 6 drops?
Yeah, this is nice just because it's a little bit of ramp and a little bit of card draw on a creature. You can't. The floor on that is only so low. Like, that's not the worst. Art's fine, lore non-existent, and that's really all there is to say about it.
Oh yeah, Numa. Numa is the record label that passed on the Beatles. I wanted to say that.
She's the elf that kicked out Nissa.
Yeah. So alike to the record label that passed on the Beatles is Numa.
Right. And just like the record label, no one's going to know who they are.
Yep.
In so many years. Elena, Kessig Trapper, 748 above Rasputin Dreamweaver and below Gorm the Great. 4 and a red for a 4/3 first strike, taps for a red mana. But this number of red mana it taps for is equal to the highest power among creatures that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. This is pretty cool. It can make a lot of mana, except you're supposed to play a 5-mana mana dork?
It's a 5-mana mana dork. It does infinite combo. That's an interesting thing. I think this card doesn't really do that much by itself, but it is a combo piece, which is interesting because what you can do is partner it up with something and then just build a deck where you don't really need her unless she's a combo piece, which I could see that working out. But other than that, I think this card is very interesting. Her art is good and she looks good. I don't like the background. This and Helena both have like this really brown background where they're really focused, which is
cool.
It's a fine style, but I just didn't like the art that much personally.
Not fans of like the poopy forest background.
Yeah.
Elena and Helana are. We don't know if they're sisters, friends, or romantic partners. So pick your favorite.
Hopefully not a mixture of those.
No, pick your 2 of the 3. Pick your favorite 2.
Nope. Yep. Don't pick your favorite 2. There are 2. If I have to tell you which ones can't overlap, You might live in Alabama.
Oh, boy.
All right, take next one.
Essior, award-winning familiar above Niambi, below Ayumi. 740. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 flyer. Commanders you control can't be the target of spells or opponents control unless they pay 3 extra. So it kind of sort of protects your commanders, except bummer, this has to be one of your commanders. That's how we're grading all of these as your commander.
Yeah, BZ pushed me to give this an extra power point. I was down on 1.
We were between 1 or 2. Obviously, the +1 can't be avoided, so it can't get a 0.
Yeah,
so
no partners.
It has 2 bumped up to 2 or 3. It only really technically does something. It kind of like, once in a while, hey, they might be stymied on a Swords to Plowshares that they can't cast. That's it.
Yeah, it's not very good. Art is fine. Its lore is that, like, it's a familiar. Into it's familiar.
Yeah,
I thought that was
a little sassy.
Yeah, that it's smart enough to think that it's familiar, which is great.
How about Siani, Eye of the Storm?
That is right above Mavrin, Fane Dusk Apostle, right below Volrath, coming in at 704. 3 in a blue for a 3/2 flyer. When she attacks, I think it's a she.
It is.
Okay, awesome. When she attacks, you scry X, where X is the number of attacking flyers you control. Not too shabby, but
no, it's actually literally nothing. I almost don't care about this at all.
That's
it's a
true.
Snapping Drake with with scry.
That's fair. Yeah, this card doesn't do very much. Yeah, I don't know. I think the text is interesting, but it really doesn't amount to anything. You have to be attacking with a bunch of flyers, then you scry. And you have to. We've already gone over this. You have to scry a lot before it gets a card back.
Here's the issue. Okay, let's say scry 3 is equal to a 1 card, because it probably is. Like scry maybe 2.5 to 3 is like you get a card worth of advantage. How much before you say you got 2 cards worth of advantage on scry? Like 8? Because they're not in your hand. You can't use them.
Yeah, exactly. That is super true. And then we go to. Let's just go to the art. Looks so badass.
It is the most undeserving, awesome art where she's ripping a hole in this cloudy sky, and they're like, scry 2.
It's a storm. Like, it's not just a cloudy sky. It's like, there's like, basically what I'm picturing is it's a hurricane around.
She's like just stopping
And she's just opening up a hole in the sky where that hurricane, it's super cool.
Or she's the eye of it, and it creates around her.
That's even more badass.
But she's a 3/2. That's scry's 1.
Yeah, and she doesn't have much story. Nobody cares. Next, we have Helana, Kessig Ranger at 700, right above Fumiko, the Low Blood, and right below Gigantha. 3 in a green for a 4/3 with Reach. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, it deals damage equal to its power to a creature an opponent controls.
So rapid bites.
Yes, exactly. It rapid bites every time a creature enters. This just costs too much to really be that effective. It's kind of cool. The only like interesting thing I think you get to do with this card is if you put her with the partner they're built to be with. It's kind of interesting then, because it's like these two they know each other, and these are like, if they're partnered with, I think it's so much more interesting of cards because they're intended to be together. But I get for limited why they're not.
Why it's not partners with.
Yeah, it's not partnered with because of in the limited environment you need partner.
Gotcha. Yeah, so power is low. I mean, a lot of these when they don't let you play Magic, we've been kind of skipping fun. When you can't play Magic with them, they lose fun points. Like Siani had a 3 because all right, she lets you scry and meddle with some things, but Helana, same thing. It's like, all right, you can move a few dials around. Like you can play Death Touchers, or you can give your creatures Death Touch. There's just not much to do there.
Yeah, there's nothing. This card is really boring, and I think it's just really simple. They'll just move on to the next one.
I mean, even if I knew Helana and Elena were friends, or sisters, or lovers, or 2 of the 3,
no,
I would at least be able to give them more lore points.
Next, we got the Prismatic Piper, which is 691, right above Azuri, right below Patron of the Kitsune. 5 colorless mana for a 3/3 with partner. At the beginning of the game, choose a color. It's that color, and therefore your deck can be that color.
Yes, it lets you do, I really wanted to play a Kiri with a blue commander, so now I can do a Kiri and Prismatic Piper as blue. That would have made sense if all the partners were multicolor, right? Because then you could play 3 colors instead of 4, kind of. But there's 41 new ones, 40 other new ones here. This card also has no text on it. Okay, doesn't do anything.
So I want to go over 2 things. One, it got an actual 0 for power bumped up because of the partner.
Yes.
And it got a 10 for art because Seb McKinnon, again, always kills it. In the lore, got an 8, which was super cool. It is something that essentially exists in all planes at all times. And at certain times, what will happen is somebody will hear basically a song in their head. A flute.
They'll accidentally access the power of it.
Yes, and nobody knows what has to happen for this power to be accessed, But basically, when they access the power, they're able to cast way more powerful spells, which is so cool.
Also, no one's ever seen it. You can't see it. So this is just what either it actually looks like and no one will ever know, or what people think it looks like, because it's more of an effect. Like they hear the flute and they're like, oh, it's like a prismatic piper because it lets you use magic you didn't have access to.
I assume it literally exists. I assume that because
Well, I'm just saying no one's ever seen it.
Yeah,
so we got the like special view of it.
Yeah. I assume we're getting. Yeah, it's exactly what I was assuming. Like we're as Magic players get to see what it actually looks like, but everyone else who exists in the whole multiverse doesn't even have a clue. Like, I don't know what could it, who knows what this thing playing music in my head was.
Yeah, Breitlin or Breitlin, I like both. The Moonkraken, 688 between Lubway and a spoiler, because that means it's right below something that's next.
Yes.
So this is 8 mana for a 6/8. When it enters the battlefield or when you cast a 6-drop or higher, you can bounce a non-land permanent. Okay, it's 8 mana, so it's got a 3 for power, because that's pretty low. It is a Moonkraken, however.
That is really cool. Just the Moonkraken, because it doesn't... Actually, one interesting story point. I remember this.
Yeah.
This was... Breitlin is in the book, and they changed Breitlin to Lorthos, right?
Yeah, late in the development, and the book writer didn't get the memo.
Which is super interesting. So Breitlin is essentially was supposed to be Lorthos, but in the book it's Breitlin, even though it was meant to be changed, which is super interesting.
Yeah, it kind of seems just like an Easter egg callback.
Yeah,
for Wizards to make this.
Yeah, it's cool. Art's good, but other than that, boring.
No, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's a boring card. Next,
Alharu, solemn ritualist, between Breitlin and Sir Kara. It's at 687, obviously. 4 and a white for a 3/3 ETB. Distribute 2+1/+1 counters. Whenever a non-token creature with counters on it dies, you get to make a 1/1 spear token. It bridges the line between +1 counters and tokens. Does your deck care about this? Maybe. It's 5 power for 5 mana.
I'd be so much more interested in this card if it wasn't non-token. If it actually had the ability to kind of go off.
Ah, man, I don't know. That makes it a little bit less interesting.
Well, maybe that's true, but it'd be more powerful at least.
Definitely be more powerful. It only has a 3.
Yeah, it's
fun. Yeah, sure, you can do something.
Again, this is one of those. Niche. This is one of those cards where it's like nothing. None of the categories went really over average. There's nothing worth talking about.
No.
Other than BZ doesn't like the tiny spirits on it.
It looks like they're tiny spirit people. Also, this character has no tension at all. They are just, yeah, I'm a healer.
They use they them pronouns, which is semi-interesting.
Do with that what you will. We can move on.
What I was saying about that is I think it's good. Like BZ, I was saying that I think it's good to do that things in stories without having to bring it to the forefront. It's like you're just doing it. That's the perfect way to do it. You don't have Wizard doesn't have to announce that they did.
Don't rub it in my face, all right? Let me discover it. It was much better.
Yeah, we literally just discovered it. We're like, that's cool. This is just a character that goes by they, them. And
it was really just...
And it didn't need an explanation. It was just there, part of the story. Great.
Cool. Kellith, Sunmane Familiar, 639. Above Sliver Legion, below the White Meogen. 1 and a white for a 1/1. Whenever a commander you control attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. This at least, for most of the familiars aren't threatening. This one could be, eventually.
It's slow. It's whatever. I'm not interested in it that much. We'll talk. I'm going to go right to art because the art's the best thing about it. It's just a cool looking horse.
Well, also it teleports between battlefields.
It doesn't,
and finds a rider, and when they win the battlefield, it teleports away.
It doesn't teleport. It
vanishes.
Basically, yeah. I imagine it does a Batman. Like, so they get off it, they walk up and they shake the hands of like their comrades, and then they look back and the horse is gone.
But just like in Spider-Man 3, the horse is below a table.
Nobody knows what you're referencing. They have to know Donkey, Spider-Man 3, and probably a few other things.
Donkey's not required. It's just that's where James Franco has to be in that scene. He has to be below the table.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that joke is from a Donkey video.
That put the egg in our head.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, James Franco hides below the table there.
When a bus goes by. Itch, tech salvage place. What does that do? I'm going to tell you. 4 and a green for a 1/1. ETB, make a 3/3 golem. Whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard, put a counter on it and all your golems. Win-win. That doesn't actually amount to anything, though. This thing is low power. Green golems, you kind of want to be green, white, or Bant. There's like no splicers. Seriously, there's like no splicers.
Yeah, let's just jump right. We're just going to do this again to make it easy. We'll skip to the only interesting part of the card, which I think is the art for this one.
It's creepy. He's got 2 eyes, but he also has a robot red eye in the middle.
It just looks good. Art looks good. He gives me a because of like the red eye reminds me of what's his name? What's the
Hal?
What's the Cyborg?
Cyborg.
Yeah, because it just kind of reminds me of Cyborg. Also, Semi cool because he works with like under.
Yeah, he's under Vorinclex.
That's
Vorinclex's personal splicer.
Yeah, it's not that cool, but it's interesting. Vorinclex does let him use whatever he wants.
I just like seeing people from Phyrexian. Like, hey, what are the Phyrexians up to? It makes me think that, all right, we are going back there at some point. They are saying, hey, we know these people exist.
I think we're getting it I think we're not getting it this upcoming year, but the year after, because
2022.
They certainly they've made enough references to it at this point that it seems like that's going to happen.
Right. So Malcolm, Keen-Eye Navigator is next. Above Tolsimir, below Chainer, 604. He is a Windrake, so he's 2 and a blue for a 2/2 flyer. Player, your pirates deal damage to, you get a treasure. That's really nothing. It has evasion, but it's so expensive for like a 2/2 flyer.
Yeah, this card doesn't. Again, we're just trying to get through these earlier ones. There just isn't a lot to talk about with them, but he is, for noting it now, best friends with the Goblin Breeches.
Yes.
And Breeches is amazing. I can't wait to get to him.
Breeches is pure nonsense.
Yes, I actually love Breeches based on his story. And it tempts me to want to build some sort of pirate deck because it's so, like...
You're going to hate it.
I really, really love when the story is just, like, funny and enjoyable. Like, that's why
a lot of these have good stories.
Yeah, like, that's why I love Muxus. That's exactly... Like, Mux is amazing because, like, literally the story is so enjoyable and so perfect for a goblin that I just love it.
All right. Next is Radiant Sarah Archangel. 7 mana for a 6/4 flyer. Tap an untapped creature you control with flying. She gains protection from the color of your choice.
This is bad. This is really bad.
Yeah, she's at $5.99.
That being said, the art is beautiful. And we know Radiant, old character. She's got a lot of stuff. If you want to go read her lore, I can't even begin to tell you her lore because she's actually one of those characters just in the books, has so much lore. But if you really want to, it's probably like, I imagine there's at least like 3 or 4 books that have Radiant in them.
Yeah, the one thing you can do with it is she does probably have protection from all colors. You make 3 spear tokens, she's never getting killed by targeted removal.
Yeah, but...
That's really all she has, but she's 7 mana.
Yeah, exactly. She's really expensive.
Yeah. Next is Nadir, Agent of the Duskanil. 5 and a black for a 3/3. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, boom, +1/+1 counter on it. He leaves the battlefield, boom, tokens equal to its power. So he's above Dagatar and below the green Myojin.
Yeah, I don't think this card is like super exciting, but what I do like is for building a deck, if he's a combo piece. We figured this out in 2 seconds, so there's probably other ones.
Yeah.
So it's Eldrazi's Placer,
him,
and
Ashnod's Altar.
That's just an infinite combo. That's just infinite colorless mana for you, and infinite 1/1s also.
Yep. Because he's also an infinite at the end of the day.
Yes, exactly. Is he? Oh yeah.
You bank infinite, he's in play, then you sack infinite.
Oh, it's even more ridiculous. Yeah. He goes off quick. Not that it matters how fast you go infinite, but he does go infinite faster than I thought.
Yeah, the speed. It's all the same turn anyway.
It's kind of like how there's 2 levels. Like there's countable infinite and uncountable. It's like well, it doesn't really matter.
Some infinites are bigger than other infinites.
Yeah,
maybe let's not talk about it.
Such a weird concept.
Yeah, he actually has points for fun because you can, like we just said, we actually just name some things you can try to do with them. His art though, he's just kind of a poopy dude in the shadows. Not a huge fan.
Yeah, and lore is even more boring.
He doesn't do anything. He's an assassin who's pretending not to be. All right.
Also, that assassin just doesn't make any sense. Like, the card is clearly a bottom-up design.
Yep.
Because it doesn't make any sense. That is not an assassin ability or anything.
He summons other people. Assassins work alone.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Now who's next?
Next is Glacier, Power Stone Engineer, right above Arvid the Cursed, and right below Drana, the Last Blood Chief. 5 and a blue for a 3/6 human legend with partner, obviously. Tap him and tap X untapped artifacts you control. Look at the top X cards of your library. Put one of those into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Slow.
So slow. If this was like 2 mana, now we're talking.
Yep. Glacier.
You're never going to get it.
Yeah, exactly. It's too slow. It's fine. It's just a blue artifacts. It's just a deck that's always existed. It's not really that unique in that way. And then the story's okay. He kind of gets
duped.
Duped is a great word. He gets duped by Yawgmoth before Yawgmoth's even Phyrexian.
And adorable, he's married to Rebecca, and both of their flavor texts reference the other person, and it's like, oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're meant to be. I think something to take from this, I think they originally were going to, I think from what you can see, a lot of these were meant to be partnered with certain people.
Those two clearly go together.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they intentionally made things to go with each other, and then they just said, okay, but we won't do partner with because we want this to be a draftable set, which I think they did so well that I'm just happy about it.
Yeah. that's pretty much it to talk about. He's not a unique card. We can move on to Armix Filigree Thrasher, though. Between Balan and Kestia, he's at 547, so we're starting to get up there. He's at 3 mana, 3/2, 2 and a black. When he attacks, you can discard a card, and if you do, target creature defending player controls gets -X, where X is the number of artifacts you have in play, plus the number in your graveyard. So in the deck you build around it with, it attacks and destroys a creature. But it's a 3/2 with no way to not die now that it's attacking.
Yeah, it's okay. Again, this card really bores me. I don't know what it is. It's just nothing makes me want to build this card in any world.
See, this is cool to me if there was any way, and you're in black, like you have to give it evasion somehow. But then you're trying to give it evasion and then you're also playing an artifact deck?
Yeah. I mean,
just too weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. I'm not interested in it. Art, great though. This art killed this set. Just so good with art. I love it.
This is from Alara too. Thank you for not forgetting that Alara exists.
Yes.
I want to go back there.
Yeah, we've gotten. I think there's more than one from Alara in this set.
Yeah, I think so too.
Next we have Slurk, all ingesting, right above Karavek the Merciless, right below Grismold the Dreadsower at 520. 5 and a green for a 0/0 enters the battlefield with 5 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, you put a counter on Slurk and all other creatures you control with a +1/+1 counter on it.
This just is another one that's really expensive. How am I supposed to get an engine going if this is 6 mana?
Yeah, it's super expensive. Again, not interested. I love the way it looks. Super cool. I think it would be fun. I think there's probably combos with this. This one we did not take the time to figure out where it goes infinite, but I'm sure.
Yeah,
it goes infinite.
This might be an Ooze tribal partner if you really want to do that type of stuff. You can maybe Umori as your companion and Slurk as one of your partners.
So here's a good question. His name is the All Ingesting.
Yep.
Implying that he eats whatever he comes across. How does he partner up with something? Want to be partners? Yes, let me eat you.
I don't think he can talk.
he goes. Well, let's just say let's just for the sake of this.
He forms a thumbs up with his ooze,
and then immediately forms a mouth behind him and eats him.
Maybe I would think so. He's a loose cannon.
He's
definitely a loose cannon.
He's a loose cannon cop. The partners too.
The
loose cannon cop.
He's the bad cop. Anara, Wolvid Familiar, above the Black Myojin. Why are we talking about all the Myojins? And below Linvala at 507. This is 4 mana for a 4/4. During your turn, commanders you control have indestructible. Okay. You want to partner this with white or black commanders or both? And then you can just board wipe every turn and get your commanders through.
I think you want white for sure. I think that's the color you definitely want to go to. Just has the most board wipes, and this is really going to let you get away with casting that Wrath of God and really getting an advantage out of it because your commanders, which whatever you're putting out, you're going to make them matter because that's how the deck's going to be built.
Let me tell you, this commander is going to tank the demand for Zurgo Helm Smasher. It lets you make your own. Which commander do you want to be Zurgo Helm Smasher? He's not that cool, but there's plenty of cool ones.
Yeah. And 7 for just a wolf, like a wolf beast with big old antlers.
Yeah, she's got I don't think her familiar story was that good.
I don't remember.
Let me just skip it. If we don't remember it,
didn't she like scratches, head scratches?
Oh, behind the ears.
Yeah,
she liked the scratches behind the ears.
Yeah, she likes scratches behind the ears. Like she'll partner with you for someone to have their back.
Yeah,
some other thing, and then scratches behind the ears.
Scratches behind the ears. Moving on to Rebek, Glacian's wife, the Architect of Ascension. That's her whole name. Above Savine and below Rien, which have very similar names. 482. 3 and a white for a 3/4. Artifacts you control have protection from each converted mana cost among artifacts you control.
Okay. I just want to... There's nothing to talk about here. I think this card's super boring and doesn't really do much. But, again, Magali, always killing it. It doesn't matter.
Never not killing it.
She is a fantastic artist. Love Magali. Love Magali's art, and I will praise it every time. It's tough because when I see Magali art, I know it's Magali art because she has that style. Same thing with
fabric and lighting.
Fabric, writing, doesn't matter. Chef's kiss to you, Magali. You, Seb McKinnon, and I'm missing some.
There's infinite.
Wow. Wiley Beckett. You 3 are right now.
Joe's up and comers.
Just when I see those, any of those 3s are, they're all distinctive styles and they all stick out. Like some people don't have their own
Raymond Swanlin. I can tell you every piece of Raymond Swanlin art. I could pick them all out from Magic's history.
I love it.
I absolutely not miss one.
I think stylized art is really what gets me. I think because some people are very good at traditional type stuff where it's yeah, that's really good and that's great and I could never do anything close to that. But you give me a Wiley Beckett piece where I'm oh, mwah, that's mwah.
Okay, and that's what we think of Rebek. Who's next?
We have Falthus, Shadowcat Familiar, right above Rian, Angel of Rebirth, which we just talked about, and right below Villis, Broker of Blood. 2 and a black for a 2/2. Commanders you control have Menace and Death Touch.
All right. This one is one of the better ones because it lets if your commander's a partner and deals damage, it kills stuff.
There's a ways, and there are definitely some partners that really want this.
I remind me because I will name one that I didn't think about that is crazy.
That's on this list?
Yes.
Well, just mention it because they know it's on this list.
Well,
they know all the partners that are coming on this list.
All right. What if I told you it can't have Menace? Does that help you narrow it down? No,
you got to give it to me.
Jessica, shoot 3 things for 1 and they all die.
Ooh.
And she can't be blocked except by 2
Is it commander creatures? Or is it just commanders? Commanders. Woo, I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's, as the kids say, a spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball. And Falthus, if she's your familiar, she'll make you deformed and mutated.
Oh, yeah, she mutates you.
You get messed up.
Because Falthus is so in touch with dark magic.
She's really bad luck.
Yeah. She's not bad luck.
Well, they're like, if you think black cats are bad luck, like, yeah, this one's not good.
No, they say that this one is like not all bad. That they're not all bad luck. This one actually is good luck.
Kinda, as long as you don't mind.
Well, yeah, you're already involved in the dark arts. Like,
yeah, you don't care.
Everyone who's involved in the dark arts usually becomes ugly. Other than Liliana, who has random amounts of attractiveness depending on her card.
Depending on how much the set needs to sell.
Next, Sangir, the Dark Baron, right above Dralnu and right below Dragon Lord Dramoka. 399. 4 black for a 4/4 flyer. Whenever a creature dies, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Baron Sangir. Sangir, the Dark Baron. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, but don't forget, if a player loses, you gain life equal to their life as the turn began. That's not relevant.
There's just not a lot here.
I'm glad it's there. It's cool. It makes it a little bit funner than it would be if it was a vanilla creature.
This is one of those cards that I think, depending on who you are, ranges from a 7 coolness, which is what we gave it, to a 10 coolness. If you're into the real lore, this card can be super cool.
Like, we read all the lore. We know what he did. But that doesn't really interest me that much. Have you seen that moon, though, in the background?
The art is great.
That's amazing.
Absolutely stellar art. The set. I just want all the sets to have this good art.
Yes, I want to never have Battlebond artwork again.
And next we have BZ's...
Oh, I'm going to read this one.
No, I know. I was going to say, we have BZ's card that he loves, and I had to fight him so it didn't get the best commander of all time.
And yet, we still ended up with a commander that could be the best commander of all time.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah.
So this one is possibly what I think is the best partner from the set. Dargo the Shipwrecker. 6 and a red for 7/5 Trampler. He's at 397. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of artifacts and or creatures. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each permanent sacrificed this way, and 2 less to cast for each other artifact or creature you sacrifice this turn, which means if you sacrifice him for a red mana, he now pays for his commander attacks infinite times. So if you Thermopod and Phyrexian Altar are the first 2 that come to mind for that. Mm-hmm. Sack him for colorless mana, infinite casts. Yeah, so that goes infinite with almost anything.
Yeah, I think he's a combo piece, and I think that's about all he is. He's powerful in that sense. That's what he does. If you are looking to make like a combo deck or with him, you pair him with... It doesn't even matter who you pair him with. You just got to make the deck fit him, and it'll be strong. That's why he gets a 6 for power.
He would, if it was me, he would have like an 8 or a 9.
I don't think he's that powerful. See, like I think he's only a combo piece.
I think he's also a 1 mana 7/5 that you can play on like turn 2. You just start smashing people. That's a real clock.
I don't feel like that's relevant enough. But I understand where you're coming from. I don't think it's that fun because it's just a combo piece.
No, I don't think it's that fun either.
Yeah, this art I want to talk about because I don't like this art.
Confusing.
The giant is supposed to be really, really big enough that when it gets on ships, it sinks them. That was like the lore. But when you look at this, the camera's like on his face, and his legs are super tiny, and in his hand is a lobster. And if he's a giant, it would imply that the lobster is a giant lobster. Yeah. Because the lobster should be like tiny in his hand. It's so weird to me.
And he's holding like a piece of boat, but the boat is almost the same size as the lobster, but it's also a little bit further down, and I have no idea how tall he is.
Yeah, and he has tiny legs.
Like a giant could be, he's a giant. He's 20 feet tall. Or he could be 70 feet tall.
Yeah, giants have all different heights, but it's like, I just don't like the perspective. Again, this is one of those ones where it's like, I could never draw anything close to this good.
Well, that's not That doesn't mean that we like the art.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I can never do something close to that good, but
I can't draw a face of anything.
I can't.
He's very unique, though. Nothing else really does that. It says, oh, they check the memory of the whole turn.
Yeah, it is a weird card. Next, we have Prava of the Steel Legion. Right above, Ib Half-Hearted, Goblin Tactician, and below, Child of Alara. 2 and a white for a 1/4. As long as it's your turn, creature tokens you control get +1/+4. 3 and a white, create a 1/1 white creature soldier token. First thing I want to talk about, I just want to talk about the cool flavor of this. I just realized this. She is a 1/4, and she refuses to put her soldiers in danger at all when she fights. So they're literally always under her protection. So they get her buff.
Yeah.
So she's literally always protecting them and
personally protecting all of them.
Yes, and that's she fights against what's her name?
Leisha.
In battle, and
wherever plane that is.
It literally says that the only reason that she's basically not able to beat Leisha is her she's not willing to put any soldiers' lives on the line.
It's her one rule.
Yeah, she fights to protect all of them, and she doesn't want anyone to die.
Which is great, and it's still flavorful. The +1/+4, your 1/1s are 2 5s.
Yeah, it's so weird.
This card's pretty decent, especially if you make it toughness matters. Oops, it's +4/+4 now.
Yeah, I feel like there's a partner here that makes tokens that you can just go crazy with. It seems super fun.
Or you can like Ikra Shadiki it.
Yeah.
And now you don't even, your tokens gain you 4 life.
Get in there, Ikushidiki.
That's kind of cool.
I like Ikushidiki. Next, we have Kedis, Emberclaw Familiar, right above Samut, right below Damia, Sage of Stone. 1 in the red for a 1/1. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each other player, also opponent. Not you. It doesn't hit you. Don't worry.
Yeah, if you hit one opponent, you hit all 3. So, all right. That's really nothing special, though. And this is when you're commanders. So, you can't... Like, it just doesn't work out.
It's fine. I think it's fun because I think the idea of, like... I really like the idea of, like, getting in with... Like, if this is in your deck, which was not...
Yeah, if this is in your deck.
And then you go... What's the 4-color Saskia?
Oh.
Saskia, bam, deal a ton of damage, and bam, deal a ton of damage. Art's super good, just like a nice little lizard man.
And it's not a man. Kedis loves head scratches. It's on the flavor text.
The lizard man.
It's so cute.
I can call it lizard man if I want.
Isn't this the one that snuggles up to you at the end of the day?
Yeah, he likes cuddles. He likes.
Come on, man, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I got an 8 for coolness because
so cute.
He's a little cuddly man.
All right, on to a chunky lady, a Chroma Vision of Ixidor. Above Nahiri and below Feather. 362 is her ranking. 5 white for a 6/6 flyer with first strike, vigilance, and trample. At the beginning of combat until end of turn, each other creature you control gets +1/+1 if it has flying, first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, protection, reach, trample, vigilance, and partner. It's Odric, but instead of giving them all the abilities, which I would say is better, you get +1/+1. So it kind of overruns, but you got to get the abilities on your things first.
I just don't think this card is very good.
No, it's so expensive.
Way too expensive. It is a partner. It's a bomb unlimited, but other than that, boring.
And just generally stay away from it. Chroma has great lore. She does stuff. She's moving around. I think some number of people become Phage. I think Chroma is one of them. Or is that?
I don't know.
There's also Phage, and then I think two people combine to be Phage, and then Phage combines with someone to be the god that I can't remember. Corona. It's so tough to me. It's really tough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's much to talk about this card. I think it just stays middle of the road for most of the things. Read up on Chroma if you like lore.
We did before, and we certainly used to know her lore.
Yeah,
we defaulted to previous Chromas.
Yeah, next we have Arden, Intrepid Archaeologist, right above Balthor, and right below Gantis. Comes in at 323. 2 and a white for a 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras or equipments to target permanent.
Or player
That they can legally be attached to, obviously.
Yes, you can move around curses, equipment, auras. This looks pretty powerful, honestly. It saves you a lot of mana.
It does. I love... What I really love about cards like this is, like, he's a cheap commander that can come out easily, quickly. He really... Because he's only 3 mana, he really makes playing something like Colossal Armor not this huge investment. Where it's like, he always... And he gets the first trigger. On the first turn, he's out. That 1 mana Colossus Hammer that gives 10 puff, it's so strong in this deck. Like, it is legitimately going to be one of, like, the top 10 cards in your deck. And that's crazy because that card is butts on usually.
Yeah, I mean, you throw it on the 0-drop, Rogra. We'll get to him later. You throw it on him, early attacker guaranteed. Turn 1, you can have him and the equipment out, and then you just need to play Arden on turn 3.
That's what I really like about this card. I really do think this card is strong. I think you just get to play. There are plenty of equipments that are designed to have high equip cost, low entry.
Yep.
So when you get to cheat that cost, and it is so easy with Arden, cheap, and you get another commander. He's really powerful. One of the more powerful ones we've talked about.
Totally. I think him and Dargo stand out above the rest that we've talked about right now.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that completely.
He's an archaeologist that swings around on the hooks. He's probably somewhat in my head, like the Indiana Jones of Zendikar.
That's the only points he got, was being headcanon Indiana Jones.
Mildly Jones-like. Ghost of Ramirez de Pietro. Above centriplets, below Golos at 308. He's a 2 and a blue for a 2/3. Can't be blocked by creatures with toughness 3 or greater, which means he's going to kill whatever blocks him. Whenever he deals combat damage, you can choose a card in a graveyard that was discarded or milled this turn, put it back into its owner's hand. Please choose yourself.
No, okay, so with the Ghost, he also gets a 10 for coolness based on partial headcanon, partial fan cannon. He's a dead gay ghost. Come on, that's amazing.
Dead gay pirate ghost.
Pirate ghost, yes.
Who lies about his age.
He's still lying about his age.
I like to think
How
that
old
he was
are you?
like he was
15.
He was like 85, and people were like, "Are you okay?" And then he just died of old age. But he's like, "I thought he was 20."
He's been saying he's 20 for 80 years.
He lost his first strike. He's slower now. This card is not very good.
Yeah.
But it's very cool and fun.
Yeah, and the art's really good. I love it's one of those arts where it's like, the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. Because like, it really draws you in with how good everything looks. Like the lighting on the card is phenomenal.
Spooky. It's almost like he only comes out at night or something.
Well, yeah, he's a spooky ghost.
Oh, what was that in Given?
Spooky ghost.
Yeah, in the flavor text, he only comes out at night.
Spooky ghost.
Next.
Tormod, the Desecrator. Right above Atris, right below Cherries, and he's coming in at 290. 3 and a black for a 4/2. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. Nothing crazy here. Totally just okay.
His art and his coolness carried him up this high, and he's the same as everything as Ramirez, but he's got an extra point for power. He's a little bit better.
Oh, his art is absolutely phenomenal. Just looks super good. He looks like the Crypt Keeper, and I don't know I think it literally might be based on
mild inspiration.
Well, yeah, because like he's known for the card Tormod's Crypt.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's where the whole thing comes from, so it makes sense that he'd be based on the Crypt Keeper. His lore is super cool. So basically, graves were getting robbed, so they're like, what's going on? So they went to Tormod's house, and he had an army of the undead around. So they got the villagers to riot.
Yeah.
The villagers quickly hanged him, which is dark. Yeah, they hanged him. They put him in the crypt, and they locked him. They locked the crypt, and then
they buried him.
And then the grave robbing starting again. They went and they opened up his crypt, and he was gone.
And that's where the story ends.
It's super cool.
The story doesn't even say he's a zombie. It kind of leaves it up to the imagination, except when you look at this card and you go, "Oh, he's a zombie maniac."
Yeah, it is cool. Next is one of my favorite cards, Togo, Goblin Weaponsmith, right above Gave, right below Kithian, coming in at 264. 2 in a red for a 2/2. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Rock. With equipped creature has 1 tap, sacrifice Rock. This creature deals 2 damage to any target, and equip 1. So that's bad. That's not strong. It doesn't do much, but it is fun and cool to build around because you just get all these rock tokens. One of our favorite like flavor things here is, so the guy that gets like +2/+2 for each
Champion of the Flame
gets +2/+2 for each equipment on it. The idea that like you can put like 10 rocks on him.
He's like a 13/13.
He's just carrying a ton of rocks. Like,
Yeah.
Basically, they're impossible to carry, and he runs at you. It's like, what do I do?
Now I'm thinking of that, but with a bunch of hot soup.
It's even better. All of it's amazing. The flavor of that card is
Well, the flavor of this card is fantastic because he's the greatest inventor on all of Dominaria, according to the goblins, because he invented the rock.
Yes. They go over, like, I love the going over other weapons. He's like, the spear, too pointy. It's too hard to tell which end you point at the enemy.
Which end is which? Crossbows, they kept getting shot. They shot their own feet.
I think there was one, and it's like, and everyone knows the problem with a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, goblins can't handle weapons.
Yeah, he's like revered. And the art is amazing. He's in the lightning storm like, I found it!
Like great genius. Like, the lightning striking behind, like, a genius move. It's like, he invented the rock.
Yeah, that's pretty big deal.
Also, it caused problems with, like, in mines because the goblins
would mine themselves into trouble.
Yeah, like, they would, they would dig holes so deep that they would run out of rocks because they love using rocks as weapons so much. So silly.
Such nonsense. Moving on to Jessica Thrace Reborn between Morag and Keranos at 243. Starting to get into the upper echelon, the better ones now. 2 and a red. She enters with loyalty equal to the number of commanders you've cast this game. She's obviously got partner. She's a planeswalker. Starts at 0, but like she says, it starts at more than that. 0. The next time a creature you control will deal damage, it deals triple that damage. So 7 power commanders kill with it. Minus X, she deals X to 3 targets. So it's not divided. If it's minus 2, you deal 2, 2, and 2.
Yeah. What I think this is the deck you should build. You should build the Jessica Dargo deck.
The Jessica Dargo deck that just tries to play him on turn 2 and then kill someone on turn 3.
You kill everybody. If you play.
So there's 2 things to do. You can play Dargo for cheap and then use Jessica to kill with commander damage, or you can infinitely cast Dargo. Make sure you set aside 3 mana, and then you cast Jessica, who enters with infinite loyalty because you've cast infinite commanders, deal 50 to each player.
Yep,
or a million.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I do love that little combo. It is awesome.
In the command zone, there's your payoff and your not your enabler. It's like your 2 payoffs.
Yeah, you really don't need much. That is so. I love that that cool little thing with those 2. I think she's super fun, but again, she's not that exciting. Her story is just not boring. I remember reading it and just being like,
yeah, she's sister of Kamal. She was part of the Phage Corona thing, but she got out of it. Good for her.
Yeah, good for her. What did you get a 10 for? Oh, uniqueness. There's nothing like this.
A planeswalker.
There's so much tripling.
Yeah.
It's like you just don't get stuff. Like tripling is big, and like if I was playing a Jessica deck, for the sake of flavor, I'm putting in Fire Emancipation. I don't care.
Don't care. Next at number 230, we got Mira Thorn of the Glade between a Cedrus and a Shia. 1 and a black for a 1/2. Whenever it or another elf you control dies, you can pay 1 mana and 1 life. If you do, you draw a card.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
That ability is good.
I think this card is boring, personally.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of fun things to do. It just lets you play more Magic. I think this is from my standpoint. This is a card I would never build. I think this is one where if I was doing it by myself, the list would be way too skewed because I fall asleep reading this card. It's so boring.
It's boring. Everything's there. All the pieces are there. It's going to let you play Magic. It's good. If you want it, it's here for you. The art's great. She's got the shh. She would have been perfect for Secret Tech Black, but we missed it by a couple weeks. Her lore's fine. She's like a silent hunter. Her text is actually kind of creepy, where she's like, shoot downwind and then like won't see you coming. She's just a little jerk.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything like specific you want to talk about?
No.
Yeah, me neither. This card doesn't interest me. I'm sorry.
We tried. Moving on.
Next is Kodama of the East Tree. It's at 203 above Ukama, the Stalking Shadow, and right below Progenitus. 4 green for a 6/6 spirit. It has reach. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield.
We were wondering combos with this. How about a bounce land? Bounces itself and then puts itself back in play. Yeah, but you just need to... There's like other cards that can take advantage of it.
Oh, yeah, there's probably something. But there is the one cool combo that I really am interested in. This, with another commander we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, Sakashima. They can go infinite with a ham sandwich at that point.
Yeah, because they're each other.
Yeah, they're each other. So you can just you can go back. Literally, you can get infinite landfall triggers just from having 2 lands.
Yep.
Yeah, it literally just like that's a ham sandwich. Just come on. So it's got 7 for power. There's a lot of things you can do with this. There's got to be even more than what we've thought of. It's not like we like sat down and built a deck around this. No. We thought about this for 2 minutes and came up with like 3 or 4 different infinite combos.
I mean, landfall gets you more landfall. A 3-drop, you can just play a land. This card is great. It makes up for the fact that it's expensive. Like I'm talking about Glacier and Rebecca. It's like, or not Rebecca. Radiant. It's like, ugh, they're so expensive. This one's expensive, and then it can actually win you the game and draw you a bunch of cards.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. Also with the infinite thing, we're talking about Cloudstone Curio. We kind of just left that part out. It was in our.
Well, that's one of the cards involved. Yeah.
Yeah. In our heads, we were thinking with Cloudstone Curio, but yeah, you need that for the infinite part.
Depending.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other stuff you can.
Well, the combo that we created, where the infinite landfall, yeah, you need Cloudstone Curio. I just kind of like that's literally like 2 commanders, 1 card from your deck, and then lands, which you obviously have. That's pretty simple to do.
Combo potential with these is high. I mean, some of these are good. Next, Kamal, Heart of Krosa. 200 even between Patron of Orochi and Padim. 6 green for a 5/5. Beginning of combat, Overrun. +3/+3 trample to your whole team. 1 and a green. Until end of turn, target land becomes a 1/1 with vigilance, haste, and indestructible. whoa, this is the most overkilliest overkill. If you untap with this, someone's dead for sure.
So the thing about this is very expensive. It costs a lot, but why? So why does it have a 7 for power? This ability has haste. That's what's
immediate
important.
impact.
It's an immediate impact every single time. And the trouble is, when you're sitting at a table across from this card, it is always going to strike fear in you. If they build a board and you know that they have the member that casts this, you know this. If they have, let's say they have 5 1/1s, okay, Kamal comes down and immediately adds 15 power to the board, and they had 5 power at the start of the turn. It's like that's absolutely bonkers.
If they're ramping hardcore or their creatures tap for mana and it's one of those types of decks, you're going to get run over super fast. And the 5 for fun kind of comes from, well, he's either going to run you over and it feels bad because you saw it coming, or he dies a couple times before he gets the trigger and then you feel super bad. So it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough for this card to be fun for all the players at the table. Like if he gets to do his thing, he kills everybody in 2 turns.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get to do his thing, you have a commander that now costs you 14 to cast.
Or you spent 18 mana and you didn't get too far with it.
Yeah, exactly. And that would also feel bad.
His art, though, I think he has the Mirari on the hilt of his sword. It's like amazing.
Yeah, the sword that's like in Mirari's wake, with the sword. I think it's that sword.
Yeah, because maybe that's after he takes his vow and he gives it up.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, Kamal's great. He does a bunch of stuff. He was like a pit fighter turned peaceful druid, and he's a badass.
Yeah, now he's the heart of Krosa. What was he before? He was something else of Krosa. Whatever.
Fist.
The fist. He was the fist, and now he's the heart. But did you know your fist is approximately the size of your heart?
What if you have a really big hand?
It's approximate.
Is my heart bigger than your heart?
Yeah, probably. You're a bigger person.
Maybe.
Usually, your body literally actively has to pump blood further. So
That's
yes.
true. That is true. Moving on. Keskit the Flesh Sculptor. Above Azusa, below Titania at 176. I like this card, and so do you. 2 and a black for a 1/3. Tap, sacrifice 3 other artifacts and or creatures. Look at the top 3 cards in your library. Put 2 into your hand and 1 into your graveyard.
You're just going to make a ton of stupid things you don't care about and sacrifice those and get cards back immediately. And even if, in the case of you're giving up actual cards, which your deck is going to want to do anyway because you built around this man, you're getting 2 of them back immediately.
Yeah, this one, the deck I think I'm going to build first, I'm going to try my hand at is Dargo and Keskit. The thought of like slinging all these really cheap, like stupid baubles and like Kuldotha Rebirth, like, all right, sacrifice an artifact, make 3 goblins, play a Keskit, use the goblins, sack all 3 of them, which makes Dargo cost 1 mana, draw 2 cards out of it. It just seems like a lot of knobs to turn, and I'm into that.
I'm not gonna lie, I think that Jessica, Dargo, mono red, like dedicated combo, that would be cool because it's like
I think it'd be cool, but I think I'd get pretty bored with that.
That's fair, yeah, and that's a fair reason not to want to play something.
Art's great.
Oh yeah,
the fun is very high you can have with this thing. I like the flavor, not even that good though. He's like a groupie. He's a fanboy of Shield Red.
Yeah, he molds things in Shieldred's image,
like basically. That spider form. He's in her image. He's got spider legs.
Yeah, he basically is like, Shieldred, you the best praetor.
You the best.
We the best praetors.
You had to say it.
I had to. You know that.
Next is Livio, Oathsworn Sentinel at 163 between Verena and Aloro. He is 1 and a white for a 2/2. You can pay 1 and a white. And weirdly, it says the owner of target creature may choose to exile it with an Aegis counter on it. But then he says 2 and a white, tap him, return all those creatures with counters on them from exile to the battlefield. You're going to do it on your own stuff. Don't forget the weird potential targeting their things. Just exile all your own things.
No, what I really like about that is it adds a political factor to the game. It adds this, like, one, if there's like many types of political factors here. One, let's say the table is not having fun due to a card in the field, and they're like, well, if you remove that, we can all have fun, and maybe we'll bring it back later. And like, I don't know, people make weird political things, and or really, what might happen is like, all right, I'll put that underneath this, so you get it back when I get my creatures back, and you do this for me.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, that adds to the fun more than the power. The power actually is pretty good. You can set up turns where you hold up mana and you just can't get board wiped. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, no, you can't get board wiped because like the thing is you have to get this back out and then use it to get.
Yeah, but then all your creatures are just hiding under it. It's better than being dead.
That's true. Yeah. What I really like about this card is the fact that you just don't. At a point, once you build your board, you don't have to do anything else. Yeah. You can keep gaining the advantage from what you already have while building up a brand new hand for a couple turns.
Totally. He's a vigilante against Marchesa's mean attitude.
Yeah, and Marchesa didn't care about him and thought he was just a wild card until he killed a bunch of her guards, and now she's like, We should talk, Livio.
I never got. You know how there's always the bad guy, the mafia boss, or the criminal underground person where they just have infinite henchmen and they just repeatedly die. Like, I lost 10 men when, I don't know, John Wick was like in a basement somewhere, and I'm just like, darn it. Isn't that the effect on you losing 10 employees or 50 employees? It's got to be higher than they always make it out to be. They're always like, you killed 10 of my men. Mildly inconvenienced. Like,
barely. Only when you kill the 10 men directly guarding them are they inconvenienced.
They're like,
Next we have Elegath, Crossroad Augur, right above Mizzix, right below Joriel at 152. 4 blue for a 5/6 flyer. Whenever you scry, you draw that many. Dang, that card is cool.
yeah, instead of looking at them to scry, you draw them.
Yes, so this card is super awesome. I don't think it's that powerful. It requires a lot of building around. The thing, the partner bump is really what helps it, because like if you build it with a partner that scries by itself,
yeah,
it's really cool.
There's
Thrasios,
Hurricane Lady, Thrasios, among others, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's probably other ones. And the fun is a 10. I think that
it's so much fun to turn a scry into a. Preordained says draw 2 and then draw a card, and there's a blue sorcery that buy back 2. I can't remember right now, but it scries 3, and you can buy it back for 2. So
I think it's a buyback 3.
No, it's 3 mana total. Scry 3 is what you get.
Oh, okay.
So it's 3 mana, draw 3, and it's back in your hand.
Yeah, that's a cool card. Yeah, and then there's lots of cool stuff. I love Tabion's Epiphany even, where it's 4 mana, draw 4, draw 2. It's so weird.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, 4 mana, draw 6 is actually an insanely strong card.
Yes, I mean there's cards that say Scry X too, where like X is the highest CMC you have.
Stuff like that. Yep.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Art is good. This is what Sphinxes should look like. I don't like Sphinxes. Often look hideous, or they look good or hideous, and some of them I can't stand. But this one just looks good.
This one actually has rare good Sphinx lore. He exists 5 minutes ahead in all possible timelines. So they said if you had a conversation with him, he's already gone through every string of any possible way the conversation could go, and he's heard you every way. So he sounds bored.
Yeah, well, if it's funnier. It's if he sounds bored,
yeah,
it's because you were unlucky enough to be in one of the timelines where he has already grown bored with the conversation. So,
and it's like he's listened to it in every timeline. So the first 3 times, right? The first 3 times he goes through what you could possibly say, he's kind of interested, but then he gets bored.
Yeah, there's lots of things. Like there's lots of different. Like he discovered something that you're not supposed to discover.
Yeah,
basically.
and he exists always 5 minutes in the future.
Yeah, which is super weird. Yeah, he goes through every single possibility, basically.
Super cool.
And decides from there what to do.
There's some random lore on a character that I like.
Yeah, that's cool. Next, Rograk, son of Roga, above Franco, below Avacyn, 136. 0 mana for a creature that is red, because it has a nice little circle thing that they put on cards, so you know it's red. It's a 0/1. First strike, menace, trample. Okay.
Strength is relative.
Did you know that this is the most expensive etched uncommon from the set?
It makes sense. This is the memeiest card in the set, and the set has some meme cards in it already. This is dying to be Voltroned up. It comes out as early as humanly possible on any commander. There's stuff you can probably get together with Cloudstone Curio because he costs 0. So if you want to play him over and over and over and do stuff like that, you could. But his power, ultimately low. Fun, ultimately high. Art, totally amazing. And I love the contrast between what he actually does, which is nothing, and how awesome he looks.
Yeah, it's the strength is relative thing. It's really funny. Also, I like his lore. So his dad was the
kobolds.
The kobolds pillage and raid everything. And his dad was like raging, or basically
they all served Prosh, and his dad wanted to be like Prosh, so he became a dictator.
Yeah, but he started like pillaging their own people, basically. Yeah. And he's like, and the quote was like, he had to fight against his dad because he didn't want his own people pillaged, not while there were so many other people that they could be pillaging.
Instead, yeah.
So good.
It's not even, like, he's kind of the good guy, kind of. Still a jerk. Card's very unique. Putting keywords on creatures with no abilities, putting keywords on no power creatures, pretty ambitious. I like it.
Yeah, I like the card. Cool design space. Absolutely awesome.
We can move on, though.
Cost 0. Yeah, moving on. We have Breaches, Brazen Plunderer. Right above Phoenix and right below Marith, 126.
3 in a red for a 3/3 menace. Goblin Pirate. Whenever one or more pirates you control deal damage to your opponents, exile the top card of each of those opponents' libraries. You may play those cards this turn, and you can use mana of any color. as though it were any color.
Problem is here that you have to hit with pirates. Pirates is not a good tribe. It's very weak.
It's not easy to hit with this guy.
And that's why it's not that great. Exactly. It's not easy to hit with him. It's not easy to hit with pirates overall. So it's okay. 10 for fun. I think this card. Atali, it basically is an Atali type card, and it's pirates. How can that not be fun?
Exactly. It is pretty sweet. As far as art, totally fine. 7. He looks like a good dude.
He's a goblin.
He looks exactly like what his lore is, which I'll let you get into.
Okay. So the best part of his lore, one, he's best friends with Malcolm, which is super cool. And it gets so good here. For some reason, he has the ability. How is it worded? It was worded so much better than I'm going to say it.
You just say it.
He has the ability to scream anything enthusiastically. Anything. Enthusiastically. So, like, to get people to, like, want to do it. Like,
anything and everything for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. He just, like, it's always enthusiastic.
At the top of his lungs. Like, it's like ear piercing.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so stupid. I absolutely loved it when we read it.
And it's like, it gets passed down as a legend.
Nice.
Because everyone knows who he is, because he's just the loudest, weirdest, most obnoxious person.
Oh, man. I really love that. And
but good for you, Breaches.
Yeah, uniqueness. There's just not many cards like this. I mean, pirates and top card of your opponent's library. Just not a crazy too many things like that.
Nope. On to the final 3. I'm sure you have some guesses of what they are.
Well, okay. If they know the set, they know what they are.
That's what I'm saying, because they're all 2 mythics and a rare. First one, Tevish Zat, Doom of Fools, 102, between 2 Praetors, actually, between Ellisnord and Vorinclex. 4 and a black for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. +2, create 2 0/1 black tokens. +1, you may sacrifice another creature or Planeswalker, draw 2 cards, but if it was a commander, you draw 3. -10, gain control of all commanders, then put all commanders from the command zone onto the battlefield under your control, including if he dies, goes back to the command zone, he puts himself back.
Yeah, it's weird. Strange card. It's strong, though. The fact is, having a 5-mana draw 2 in your command zone, at the minimum, is very strong. Protects itself with its plus, and if it gets an ult, it doesn't have to be super insanely broken. It's just going to be strong. If you're playing at a non-CDH trouble, gaining control of all commanders is going to be insane.
It's super annoying.
Yeah,
they have to go to the trouble of getting them back now.
Yeah, at minimum, it's super annoying. And
right. We know this is a commander, or we know this is a planeswalker. So yeah, it'll die more than the rest of these. I still think we gauged it correctly. Took that into account.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just so it just cashes itself in very easily, and demands an answer like where it's like it does still have to be attacked. Board wipes happen. If the board wipe happens on the player to your right, and you just get to untap with your planeswalker, it's gonna happen sometimes. All of a sudden, you're just like, okay, well, there's nothing on the board. I'll put them out, make 2 thralls.
There's plenty of times you can go board wipe into this too. Toxic Deluge into this, okay.
Yeah, it's
only something you can do.
That's not even crazy.
No.
I like this card a lot. I think it's super cool.
Looks really fun. The art's amazing. He's a creepy demon dude. He was kind of a good guy with Urza. He was part of the 9 Titans, and then he kind of went sad and crazy and turned into like a demon.
I don't even remember the story. We looked these all up yesterday or the day before, and I can't remember his story.
I just told you.
It's just blanking me.
We didn't look this one up because I knew it.
Oh, okay.
And you never looked it up.
Okay, good. Good. I'm glad I just didn't forget it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, and a 7 for uniqueness. I mean, it's a planeswalker in your command zone. There's only like, 20 of those? That's not a lot out of, coming up on like 800 commanders now?
No, it's like 1,000.
I was going to say coming up in like 1,000 commanders now? Yeah, pretty insane.
We're pushing 1,000 because I know at one point there was like 920. And that was like before the last set.
Yeah, okay.
And there's 70 something from this set.
Yeah, so we are pushing 1,000.
So on to number 2 from the whole thing.
Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, above Omnath, below Edgar Markov, coming in at number 18.
Out of all commanders.
Yes, 18 of all commanders. And there's still one above this, which is crazy. 3 and a blue for a 3/1. You may have Sakashima enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature you control. The legend rule does not apply to you.
Yeah, and permanents you control, they can all be the same legend. This has no cap for how much fun you can have. Pick your favorite nonsense thing that's legendary. You can make a bunch of them.
Yeah, you can do a ton of cool things with this. It's a really cool card. It's a clone in your command zone with other text, and clones are already pretty good.
Yeah, it's not broken though because you can't take their stuff. It's only Clepia your stuff.
Yeah, it's the spark double effect where it can only be your thing.
Right.
But yeah, super strong, super fun. Art's good. I don't know if Sakashima is putting on a mask or taking off a mask.
There's a creepy eye though, for sure, that I see.
Definitely creepy. Sakashima is wants to fool the commies eventually.
Yeah, was. I think they're dead now. Master of impersonation. So, like, they used to just be good at putting on disguises, but then it got to, I can project a mental image into your head and make you see whatever you want to see, whatever I want you to see.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sometimes it said he falls into the character where he can wipe his memory as long as he wants and be so committed. Like, if he were to be tortured, then he wouldn't know anything except what that person knows, which is crazy.
Yeah. Also, so 10 for uniqueness, because legend rule doesn't apply, is literally only on one legend, and that's Sakashima of the 1,000 Faces.
Yes, and it's on Mirror Gallery, but that card's bad.
Yes, that card is bad. Okay.
Here's the thing.
Next, we have Quark the Thumbless. I'm not going to tell you where it is exactly, but we're going to go over the card.
Yeah.
So Quark the Thumbless is 1 in the red for a 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, flip a coin. If you win the flip, copy that spell. If you lose the flip, return the spell to your hand. Card is super cool. Card is super powerful. I mean,
it checks a lot of boxes.
It checks a lot of boxes.
You see the numbers it's at? It's pretty high.
Let's go through the numbers overall, just right through. 7 for power. The fact is, this is a Storm Commander. If you have ways, there's just going to, if you have ways to copy spells.
Casting, storm triggers, cascade. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, X happens. Like, it doesn't matter. You play Gataxian Probe, and you don't care if it gets bounced or if you get to draw 2 cards. They're both amazing.
Super important and easy thing to do. If you have like Quark's Thumb and any way to copy Quark's trigger, it is super easy to go infinite.
Yes.
Not infinite, but like ridiculous.
Like, you can win.
Yeah, basically ritual. You just want to get 1 to bounce and 1 to double. 1 to bounce, 1 to double.
And your odds are good. It's like 75% odds.
Really good of that happening. So you just got to keep getting that to happen, and he can go off super easy. 10, super. You can build a Stormy. You can build this as a cool little like fun deck where it's just like you just.
What do you want to bounce?
I'll cast big spells all the time and hope they double. Maybe they
have Vial Smasher deal some damage while I cast them. Get copies of them. 9 for art. He's got no thumbs, and he's in this position where he looks awesome.
Okay, absolute 10 for story. I love this story.
Are you kidding me? It's amazing.
Okay, so he gambles away his thumb. So he's like, all right, I can't remember who has the thumb. Doesn't matter.
He gambles away his lucky thumb.
He gambles away the issue. His lucky thumb. He's like, all right, I'll bet you my other thumb that I can do something. Doesn't matter. He loses again. He's out of thumbs. He's like, all right, I'll bet you another thumb that I can go to the center of Mirrodin and come back.
Walk there.
Yeah, I'll walk to the center of Mirrodin and come back. And he says, and the guy says, you don't have another thumb. He says, I'm good for it.
Yeah, I'm good for it.
I'm good for it.
So obviously the other guy's like, okay.
He walks all the way to the center of Mirrodin, comes back, tells the story.
He took notes. He wrote it. He made a journal/book about it.
Yep. Gets his thumb back. Wears his lucky thumb around his neck.
Yep.
Like as a good luck charm. And then from there, he ends up dying because of people think like he's blasphemous for like what he's
leaving.
No, for what he says about Mirrodin. Like, he tells of, like, the truth of what Mirrodin is.
Oh,
and people don't believe him.
Something like that.
Like, that's a machine world.
Or I think he was just mad for leaving the tribe.
I think it's... No. I think it's the center... He tells about the machine world that exists at the center of Mirrodin. And people are just like, that's not real.
Or they thought it was blasphemous. Or it was somehow in conflict with him. But then, so he ends up getting executed.
He gets executed.
For him going on that trip.
And then people make and then the Quark clan... finds his writings.
His journal, yeah.
The journal, and they make a whole clan around
a whole religion, and they worship him as a god.
Yep, they worship Quark as a god.
What?
He was just some goblin that walked to the center of Mirrodin.
And bet his thumbs.
Yes.
I'm good for it.
He's good for it.
And his flavor text, double or nothing? Are you kidding me?
Oh my god, double or nothing? So good. Oh my god. This kind
of, how about uniqueness?
Uniqueness
says coin flip, copy, bounce.
Coin flip it's on a couple. Copy or bounce?
It's a red card?
What is doing this? This card is insanely unique.
It's just a bear. So that brings us to, where does Quark rest on the ranking of your commander sheet? Well, let me tell you, it's either, since he has 46 points, the only other commander with 46 points is Gitrog Monster, which is currently number 1. So Quark is either number 1 or number 2, based solely on a tiebreaker.
Yes, which usually we decide through, like, we talk about and go over it, but we thought it so fitting that right now, on the camera, live, we're gonna flip a coin,
a dime to be exact.
Heads. If it's heads, Quark is the number 1 commander of all time. If it's tails, the Gitrog Monster keeps it.
Yeah, keeps number 1.
So How lucky is Clark?
Double or nothing.
Double or nothing?
You got to flip it. I'm bad at coin flips.
I am so ready for this. So, heads, Clark is number 1. Tails, the Gitrog monster stays. The Gitrog monster stays number 1.
Looks like it was nothing, Clark.
And Clark is now the number 2 commander of all
Which
time.
Is kind of insane. I was really stunned when we went through it because we don't reference this and we don't go, oh, I want Gitrog to beat Clark, so let's bump him down one. It's like, we don't care. We looked at it, we're like, oh, 46. That's really high. Is that number 1? And it was tied. So this is the tiebreaker.
So Clark is officially the number 2 commander of all time.
Which is fitting. It's how many thumbs he doesn't have.
He just wasn't lucky enough to be number 1.
Wasn't quite good enough.
But that's our video. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. The past 2 days, we got a crazy amount of patrons.
A ton.
A ton. Thank you to all the new patrons. Thanks to all the old patrons. Thanks for the, who is it? I'm going to shout out Dustin St. Wright. He's been a patron forever.
Yeah, just forever.
Since February 2019.
We love the support from you guys.
Thank you.
It's amazing. You can go to the TCG player link if you want to support the channel monetarily without being on Patreon. Click the link, navigate where you want, buy what you want. We get a kickback on the order. It's great for everybody involved.
Yep. Again, thanks to everybody who helps make this channel possible.
It's great. These videos we've made a ton, hours and hours and hours of Commander Legends content, and we're not even done.
Yeah, we're not
So
done.
We have one more ranking every commander and at least 2 deck decks lined up.
Yep. Yeah. We got Liza and what was the other one?
Probably do Dargo Casket.
Yeah, might as well do the one we're building. So yeah, this is super exciting. I love doing these ranking every commanders. They're a lot of work.
I love making fun of them, making fun of the dumb ones, and talking about what's cute or fun about the.
I do
address all aspects of the card.
I love going over behind the scenes a little bit because I don't. It's not like bragging, but it's I love doing these videos and So the other day we go, okay,
this is a tidbit.
Yeah, this is a tidbit. We come, BG's like, all right, we got to record that video. Come over. It was 8 o'clock. I'm like, all right, we'll have time to record this. We start working on it. Just putting the numbers in, plugging the numbers in, not even into the sheets. And we look, it's 12 o'clock and we just finished the numbers. I'm like,
all we did was
all right,
look at the card and research the lore. That's it.
Yeah, it was
figure out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love every second that I put into this channel, and it's so fun. I literally I got up super early, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I was just working on plugging all the numbers into the sheet and everything.
Yeah, there's the script we have, and then that needs to go into the sheet, the master sheet, so you guys can look, which is in the description, link it to see the actual current standings of every commander.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. And if anyone's missing, there's a missing commander. Somebody told me a while
No, there
ago.
maybe is one, but we might have just put it on there anyway, but it's too late. It's been too long, so we don't remember. Yeah. So if you feel like cross-referencing every single commander, there may or may not be one missing. I don't think there is.
We're adding, Will and Rowan are missing. They're going to be added after this video's release.
Yeah, Will and Rowan have been missing for a while. Just negligence. They'll be on.
Not even negligence. It was more of a confusing misunderstanding where it's what we did is it was really easy to search all legends, all creatures.
And we got to add The Walking Dead, right?
And we have to have The Walking Dead. Oh,
we'll throw them on too. Check them out. We're not going to do a whole video about it.
We might I think
we could maybe tack them on to the next video.
Yeah, I think tacking them on to the next video will be the best thing. But that is our video. Thanks everyone for watching. Peace out, Tribe Scout.